Hey guys, welcome to Get Busy Watching. I'm your host, Honest Dan. Let's talk movies.
Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire ici?
Je ne sais pas. Je serai français.
Ça ne suffit pas.
Abjuré, parjuré, abhorré. Alors le בעברית.
Je suis arrivé en France pour fuir Israël.
Non mais c'est pas ridicule. Est-ce que tu connais la France? Tu connais qui comme Français à part nous deux?
Je ne rentrerai pas.
Jamais?
Tu crois que tu joues au fou? Mais t'es fou!
I saw that dude's dong way too many times in this movie. A French film, you say? Alright, short and sweet. Meh, I didn't care for it. On the one hand, or in reference to another scene in one hand, I just don't like Yoav as a character. I'm on board with him at first, because when we first meet him, he's new to France, he doesn't know where to go, he finds this place to squat for the night, and as he's taking a bath, literally in the span of like 2 minutes, everything he owns is just stolen from under him. And I mean everything. His bags, his clothes, his money, his underwear, everything. So he is just running around naked, banging on doors for help, and nobody's giving it to him. It's easy to get a little bit sympathetic for the guy. Even after Emile and Caroline help him, he walks around getting all poetic about being French and complaining about how hard life was back in Israel. By the way, are the French really this generous when it comes to strangers? Letting strange naked men sleep on their bed and then just giving them clothes and money, and not just for a taxi fare, but to also get through the week, and to continuously do that for this stranger. Damn. French people are nice. Because I know if a strange naked dude is knocking on my door, I'm dousing that fucker with a fire extinguisher, and I'm leaving him for the coyotes. I don't give no fuck. I don't know this dude. But as the story progresses, despite the flashbacks that we get of Yarov back in Israel, he just comes across as whiny and hates his country and family in the same manner as an emo preteen who hates his parents for grounding him for a week. We just don't see what's wrong with his former life. And because he comes across as an emotionally stunted child, I'm more inclined to believe that he left everything behind for no good reason. Even with that in mind, Yoav's romances with both Emile and Caroline kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, okay, I guess the romance, the implied romance anyway, between Yoav and Emile makes a little more sense because they're more artistically minded. But Caroline, for the most part of the movie, has been pretty critical of Yoav. Like, she'll ask him, do you know anyone besides us? Do you have a plan for living in France? And all she ever really gets is a half-baked, vague answer. Hell, there's even one scene where she's openly frustrated with him. For good reason, obviously. But then, like, 1 or 2 scenes later, she's knocking on his door and is all like,
let me come up there and put my beef in your taco.
Where the hell did any of this come from? Even the more obvious romantic tension between Yoav and Emile never progresses to even a kiss. Oh, but Emile is not only okay with his girlfriend sleeping with this guy that she barely knows, but he even suggests and plans the wedding day for them so he can be integrated into France faster. No, I'm not fucking kidding. This really happens.
I'm deadly serious.
And even once that happens, and Yoav's taking French history and learning the national anthem, he starts walking around like an insane and fanatical person, spouting shit like, the French people saved me, so now I'm gonna save them. And it's like, what? And he does this in a rude and even hostile kind of way. Again, comes right out of nowhere. And I guess, like, the ending, they call off the marriage, big surprise, and he's getting deported. Honestly, I don't even know what the final scene is. I'm just speculating here. But he's so desperate not to go back that he tries to ram down the door to Emil and Caroline's home, only for it to fail. Cut to black. Roll credits. It's so weird. Overall, I don't know if this movie is just too Israeli, too French, or if I'm just too American to understand it. But as is, it's just not my cup of tea. I mean, a strong enough beginning and first half, I guess, but it just spirals into a whole lot of randomness that I did not agree with. As a recommendation, pass. My honest rating for Synonyms, a weak 3 out of 5.
I don't know if you know how extraordinary this is, but you have made it 100 miles to freedom all by yourself. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Harriet Tubman. If I'm free, my family should be too. I made up my mind, I'm going back.
Do you know what would happen if you got caught? You got lucky, Harriet.
I made it this far on my own, so don't you tell me what I can't do.
Well, damn. I can't recall the last time I saw a good movie that still kind of disappointed me. Okay, when I say kinda, I don't mean kind of. It's more like kinda. Alright, you know what? Let's just get this out of the way right quick. I hated the visions that Harriet was having. Yes, I know. She had a brain injury. She was deeply religious. There aren't factual recounts of Harriet claiming that she was having visions from God. I did a 15-second Google search, but I don't know. This couldn't have been left ambiguous. Like, this on the nose about it. It just, oh man. And the fact that they crop up so frequently, I hated this so much. Am I making a big deal out of it? Probably. Does it still bother me? Yeah. But okay, enough about them shits. Let's get to the good stuff. Cynthia Erivo is damn good in this movie. She has such a vulnerability to her, but as the story progresses and she evolves, she develops a special brand of badassery. Knowing the terrain like she did, evading slavers and bounty hunters, even getting one to come on her side because she was that efficient at it. You won me over with just that. But more than that, anybody else hear that? Why am I listening to Sugarland right now? Why? Oh my God! That was Jennifer Nettles playing the slaver who originally owned Harriet Tubman? How delightfully random is that? Actually, she is kind of amusing now that I'm looking back on it, because like she is freaking out over all the slaves that are disappearing, and she is horrified by the notion of selling the remaining ones just to maintain social status in her community. And she literally starts falling ill due to the continued stresses. She she comes across like a racist Lucy from Peanuts. Damn. Wild miscasting if you actually knew how adorable Nettles really was. But now that I have this in my head, maybe I like this movie just a little bit more as a result of the unintended hindsight hilarity. As for any negatives, yeah, I'd say that there is kind of a level of predictability there. It's like, okay, you have that cliche of the slaver who simultaneously hates yet lusts for the black slave. But she won't kill him in the end because she's better than that, I guess. I mean, come on, guys. If it's true that Harriet Tubman had a love for firearms and she would, in actuality, go and serve the Union in the Civil War, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that that slaver dude is mincemeat. And also, especially considering the price on her head, I doubt the Southern justice system could have done much worse than was already planned for her. Let me think. Character relationships don't last for kind of bullshit reasons, and you never see those same characters again. And why the hell did it take Harriet till the end of the movie to try and rescue her parents? Overall, it's definitely an imperfect flick, but it's still an enjoyable watch. It's hard not to get behind the actual heroes that fought against slavery, and it's really easy to get engaged to the dedicated performance by Erivo. So yeah, I think it's worth a watch. Again, I'm no historian, so if this movie has any discrepancies, I'm going to leave it to the educated to sort through all that. As for me, I think it's an enjoyable flick, and I would actually like to see a follow-up based on Harriet Tubman's days as a spy during the Civil War. Just drop the superpower future vision bullshit and I'm all set. As is, not bad at all, and I'm giving this a recommendation. My honest rating for Harriet, a 4 out of 5.
Frank Minna, Private Eye. Frankly, Franco. He gave me a place in this crappy world until I screwed up.
Frank!
Brooklyn's in trouble now. Ooh.
There's something going down, and it's big, and they were not happy about what he found. That's her. That's the girl that Frank was following. I think she found something. She doesn't know. She doesn't know.
What don't I know?
Well, here's something you don't see every day. A classic noir thriller. Even more so, done well. Very well, in fact. The quality of everything, the acting, the cinematography, all of it, helmed by Edward Norton himself. An actor with a notorious reputation for perfection and occasionally difficult to work with. But the fact that he is directing, writing, and starring in this almost makes too much sense. But it pays off. And I like Norton as Lionel, as the Tourette's-stricken protagonist. As I understand it, his portrayal of Tourette's is actually more faithful to the actual condition than has been portrayed in the media in the past. Does the media portray Tourette's a lot? I mean, the last time I saw anyone with Tourette's was Tourette's guy from YouTube.
I'll kick you in the balls!
Bitch! I love you!
Rest in peace to that dude. But I can relate. It's not like asthmatics are given proper justice in Hollywood. So I'm glad. I'm glad that Norton took the condition seriously. I mean, it is occasionally played for laughs, but it's not the joke. Really, respect. And this movie roped in some other great talent too. Leslie Mann is briefly in the movie, but she might have delivered the best performance of her career, and that's saying something, because even in her worst movies, she's usually pretty good, if for no other reason than just natural charisma. And Gugu Mbatha-Raw, she's fantastic as Laura Rose, this community advocate who's caught up in the middle of the scandal that Lionel is investigating. And Alec Baldwin as this scummy yet publicly beloved politician, Moses Randolph. He is delightfully threatening and calculating. And Willem Dafoe is great. Bobby Cannavale, Michael Kenneth Williams, everyone is stellar. I love the soundtrack. I love the jazzy score, the 50s backdrop. It's wonderful. So with all that praise, do I have any issues? Kinda. The problem with me and mystery stories is that my brain can't always keep up with it, especially if you throw in politics. It's like I'm always going, who's this politician? What's he doing? How is this connected to Bruce Willis's murder? You know, it's stuff like that. And even if the main characters can connect it all, plain as day for the audience to understand, I'm still the one dumbass who's like, I mean, I understand some of it, but when you have entire scenes dedicated to these information dumps, it's really easy for my brain to start wandering. And even once these scenes are done, it takes me a good minute or two to rope myself back into reality. I mean, I'm grateful that the character scenes overshadow these more political scenes, but they do exist, and it affects my viewing experience. So a little bit of information gets lost on me. Nah. Overall, it's not going to be my favorite movie of the year, but I do fully expect it to be an awards contender for the Oscars next year. And I'm not going to be the least bit surprised or even disappointed. I'd say if you're in the market for a noir thriller, then this is definitely highly recommended. You're in for a treat. My honest rating for Motherless Brooklyn, a strong 4 out of 5. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Hope to see you soon.